It was supposed to be a joke. A stupid, last-minute scheme to survive Thanksgiving without my mother interrogating me about why I was still single at 24. But then Noah took my hand under the table, squeezed it like it meant something, and suddenly I couldn't breathe. Maybe I should back up. My name is Ethan Carter, born and raised in Pennsylvania, oldest son of a family that thrives on Sunday church services, potlucks, and endless gossip about who's dating whom. Coming home for the holidays always felt like stepping into a trap. One wrong answer, and suddenly everyone knew your business. Except this year. Panicked. I couldn't bear another round of, "When are you settling down?" Or worse, "Have you met any nice girls?" So I lied. And Noah, my best friend since high school, the guy who once stole fries off my plate without asking and shared his worst secrets with me under football bleachers, agreed to play along. "You owe me so bad," he said when I begged him. "But fine. I'll be your fake boyfriend." I thought it'd be funny, maybe even freeing. Just hold hands once, share a look, and let my family assume the rest. I didn't expect him to fit into my world so easily, or how natural it felt when his arm slipped around my shoulders in front of my aunt. I sure as hell didn't expect my heart to start believing it. Dinner was halfway done when my younger cousin Sarah leaned across the table with that mischievous grin she always wore when she smelled scandal. "So, Noah," she drawled, twirling her fork, "what are your intentions with my cousin?" The table erupted with laughter. I nearly choked on mashed potatoes. My mom arched an eyebrow like she was already wedding planning in her head. And Noah, that traitor, didn't even flinch. He smiled, actually smiled, and said, "Well, I was thinking marriage." The room went silent for 2 beats before everyone laughed again. But I wasn't laughing. My chest constricted. My pulse thundered. He said it so casually, like he wasn't joking, like maybe he meant it. I stared at him, and he stared right back, eyes glinting with something I couldn't read. That was the moment I realized this fake relationship was about to become way too real. I grew up in a house where love was always loud. Me parents argued over bills, then danced in the kitchen 10 minutes later. I thought I understood love, messy, inconvenient, but inevitable. What I didn't understand was desire. Not until Noah. We met in 10th grade. He was the new kid, lean and awkward, with a smirk that dared the world to underestimate him. I was the star quarterback, the one everyone expected to follow the script. Girlfriend, prom king, small-town glory. But Noah walked into my life and made the script feel suffocating. We were inseparable back then. Movies on his cracked laptop, driving out past the cornfields just to scream into the night, talking about futures that felt like science fiction. He knew I liked guys before I did. He never said it outright, just asked questions, nudged, gave me space to admit it when I was ready. And now here we were, years later, sitting at my parents' table, pretending. Except it didn't feel like pretending anymore. After dinner, when the dishes were stacked and the cousins were arguing over board games, I found Noah outside on the porch, leaning against the railing. The November air bit cold against my skin, but he looked calm, watching his breath fog into the night. "You're insane," I whispered, closing the door behind me. "Marriage? Really?" His lips curved. "What? You wanted believable." Believable, not life-altering. He turned then, eyes catching the porch light. For a second, he didn't look like my sarcastic, easygoing best friend. He looked serious, older, dangerous, in a way that had nothing to do with harm and everything to do with how badly my heart wanted him. "Maybe it's not so life-altering," he said softly, I froze. The night buzzed in my ears. He didn't smile. He didn't laugh. He just looked at me like he'd been waiting years to say it. And for the first time, I realized the line between fake and real wasn't just blurry, it might not exist at all. The weeks stretched long after that. My family adored Noah too much. Honestly, my mom kept slipping him second helpings. My dad invited him to watch football like he was already part of the family. And Sarah kept making not-so-subtle jokes about future weddings. And Noah played along. Every single time. Hand on my back when we walked into the room. A kiss on my temple before bed because my mom, accidentally, put us in the same guest room. Whispered teases that sent shivers down my spine when no one else could hear. I told myself it was all for show. That he was just good at acting. That I wasn't lying awake at night memorizing the way his lips felt against my skin. But I was. God help me. I was. The real crack came Friday night, when the family bonfire blazed in the backyard and the cousins brought out a guitar. We all sat in a loose circle, flames licking the cold sky, marshmallows skewered on sticks. Someone started playing a country love song, off-key but earnest. Noah sat beside me, his knee brushing mine, and then, without warning, he reached over and laced his fingers through mine. Should have been small, simple, but the way his thumb stroked my knuckle, absent-minded and tender, made my chest ache. My aunt noticed first. "Look at them," she cooed. "Young love." I wanted to pull away. I wanted to laugh it off. But I couldn't, because for once, it didn't feel like a performance. It felt terrifyingly, beautifully real. The next morning, I woke up to Noah rummaging through his backpack, hair a wild mess, still wearing the t-shirt he'd borrowed from me. He glanced up, caught me staring, and smirked. "You drool in your sleep," he said. "Shut up." But he didn't push it. He just crossed the room, sat on the edge of the bed, and looked at me, really looked at me, like he was memorizing every inch. "You know," he murmured, "we're not actually fooling anyone." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "I mean," his voice dipped low, "they already think we're in love. And maybe they're not wrong." Those words echoed in my head all day. Maybe they're not wrong. I couldn't escape them when my mom hugged me tighter than usual, when Sarah winked at me, when Noah leaned casually against the wall with his arms crossed like he belonged here. And for the first time in years, I wondered if just maybe I'd been running from something that had been right in front of me all along. That night, when everyone had gone to bed, Noah and I sat on the porch again. The air smelled like smoke from the dying fire, sharp and nostalgic. "I can't do this," I whispered, breaking the silence. His head snapped up. "Do what?" "Pretend it's fake anymore." The look on his face, like relief and fear and hope all collided at once, was enough to undo me. "Then don't," he said simply. And before I could stop myself, before I could overthink, I leaned forward and kissed him. It wasn't planned. It wasn't perfect. But it was real. God, it was so real. And for the first time in years, I wasn't afraid. That was the moment everything changed. The kiss should have ended with awkward laughter. That's what I told myself as my lips brushed his quick, impulsive, easy to dismiss as holiday sentimentality. But Noah didn't pull away. He deepened it, slow and sure, like he'd been waiting years for me to cave. And I let him. The porch light buzzed above us, moths circling the glow, but all I could focus on was the warmth of his mouth, the way his hand slid to the back of my neck, steadying me like I might run. I couldn't. When we broke apart, breathless. He grinned crookedly. Took you long enough. My heart nearly cracked in half. Because he wasn't joking. His eyes, soft and unguarded in the dark, told me he'd meant every word, every touch. I wanted to ask him everything. How long? Why now? What happens next? But the words tangled in my throat. Instead, I laughed, shaky and disbelieving. You're impossible. And you're terrible at hiding how much you want me. He shot back. God help me. He was right. The next day, I tried to pretend nothing had happened. But every time I looked at Noah, the memory of his lips burned fresh. At breakfast, he leaned against the counter while my mom flipped pancakes. And I swear he looked at me like we shared the world's most dangerous secret. My mom noticed too. You boys are awful quiet, she said lightly, sliding plates onto the table. Noah answered smoothly, like it was nothing. Just tired. We were up late talking. Talking, I echoed, nearly choking on my orange juice. He smirked into his coffee. The bastard. That afternoon, Dad asked Noah to help chop wood out back. I followed, because the idea of leaving them alone filled me with dread. You know, my dad said as Noah hefted an axe, I like you. You take care of my son. I nearly swallowed my tongue. But Noah didn't flinch, just split a log clean in two and said, always have. Always will. The crack of the wood echoed in my chest. Later, when Dad went inside, I rounded on him. Are you trying to kill me? Noah just leaned on the axe handle, sweat glistening at his temple. Relax. He bought it. That's the problem. He tilted his head, studying me. Is it? That night, my cousins dragged everyone into a chaotic round of charades. The living room erupted with laughter, shouts, and failed guesses. Noah ended up behind me on the couch, his knee pressed against mine, his hand resting casually on my thigh as if it belonged there. No one blinked. No one called us out. I should have been relieved. Instead, I was drowning, because I didn't know how to separate what was fake anymore. Every touch felt real. Every look carried weight. And when my cousin whispered, they're so cute together, I didn't even want to deny it. But reality hit hard the next morning. I caught Noah packing. What are you doing? I asked, heart slamming. He zipped his bag, not meeting my eyes. Leaving before this gets messier than it already is. Messier. Couldn't even breathe. You're just what? Walking out. He finally looked at me, jaw tight. Ethan, this was supposed to be pretend. I can't sit here pretending when it feels real to me. The air sucked out of the room. My stomach dropped. Real. His laugh was bitter. You think I said marriage as a joke? You think I kissed you because of your mom's seating chart? I've wanted phthisis for years. But if you don't, he shook his head, shouldering his bag. Then I need to go before I lose my mind. My body moved before my brain. I grabbed his arm. Don't. The word tore out of me, desperate. Don't go. Please. He froze, eyes searching mine. And that was it. The dam broke. I told him everything. About the years I spent forcing myself into silence. Convincing myself I could never want what I wanted. About how scared I was of disappointing my family. Of being seen as broken or wrong. About how easy it had been to pretend until him. Noah listened. Eyes dark and steady. Not once interrupting. When I finally stopped, shaking with the weight of it, he cupped my face in his hands. You're not broken, he whispered. You never were. And just like that, the fear cracked open, light spilling through. The rest of the week blurred. We stopped pretending in secret. Every brush of his fingers against mine, every stolen kiss when no one was looking, felt like a rebellion and a relief all at once. But we still kept the bigger truth locked between us. My family believed we were a couple, but they didn't know how real it had become. And I wasn't ready to tell them. Not yet. The breaking point came Saturday night. We were curled up on the couch after everyone else had gone to bed. The glow of the TV painting us in blue shadows. Noah's arm was around me, my head against his shoulder. Felt easy. Felt right. Then he said it. We should tell them. My blood ran cold. Tell them what? The truth. That this isn't fake. That I'm not just your holiday cover story. That I want you. My throat closed. The words were everything I wanted and everything I feared. Noah. He turned to me. Eyes searching. Do you want me or not? The question sliced me open. Because I did. God, I did. But the thought of saying it out loud, of watching the judgment fall across my parents' faces, paralyzed me. Pulled away. I can't. His silence was worse than yelling. He just stared at me, hurt bleeding across his face, then stood up. Then maybe this really was just pretend. He said quietly, and walked away. Sleep was impossible. My mind spun with what-ifs, with memories of his hand in mine, with the ghost of his lips still on me. By morning, he was gone. No note. No goodbye. Just an empty bed and the crushing weight of everything I'd failed to say. The drive back to Philadelphia was a blur. My mom hugged me at the door, blissfully unaware, chirping about how lovely Noah was. My dad clapped my shoulder, proud, and I smiled like my chest wasn't caving in. On the highway, the radio blared Christmas songs, cheery and hollow. I gripped the wheel until my knuckles ached, replaying the last look Noah gave me, the way his voice cracked when he asked if I wanted him. I'd ruined it. The city felt colder without him. Days passed. I threw myself into work, into errands, into anything that wasn't facing the emptiness of my apartment. But everywhere I turned, he was there, his jacket still hanging on the hook, his laugh echoing in the hallways of my mind. I wanted to call, to apologize, to beg him to come back. But the fear that he wouldn't answer worse, that he would, only to say it was too late, kept me frozen. Until Christmas Eve. I was wandering through a crowded market, the air thick with cinnamon and pine, when I saw him. Noah. He was across the street, hands shoved in his pockets, staring into a shop window. My chest constricted. Before I could think, I bolted through the crowd, nearly slipping on icy pavement. He turned just as I reached him, surprise flashing in his eyes. Ethan. I didn't let him speak. I grabbed his face and kissed him, right there on the sidewalk. Strangers brushing past us, car horns blaring. When I pulled back, my breath shook. You were right. About everything. I want you. I've always wanted you. I'm just scared. His eyes softened, the tension melting from his shoulders. So don't be scared anymore. It sounded simple. It wasn't. But in that moment, with snowflakes catching in his hair and his hands steadying me, I believed it could be. We ended up back at my place, laughing nervously like teenagers sneaking around. But there was nothing childish about the way he looked at me, or the way my heart slammed when I finally let myself fall into him completely. And for the first time, it wasn't pretend. It was everything. But happy endings aren't neat. Because now that it was real, we had to face what came next. Me family. my fears, the life we wanted. And I had no idea if I was strong enough. The morning after Christmas, I woke to sunlight slanting through the blinds and Noah sprawled beside me, hair wild, lips parted in soft sleep. For a long moment, I just stared. My chest ached with something both terrifying and tender. This was what I wanted. Him. The simplicity of waking up together, of not having to pretend anymore. But as his arm draped lazily across my stomach, the weight of reality pressed down. My parents still believed it was a game. My cousins thought it was a holiday romance. No one knew that when I kissed him now. It was real. It was raw. And it was dangerous. Noah stirred, blinking awake. He smiled when he saw me. Morning. His voice was rough, sleep-heavy. Morning. He stretched, groaning, then rolled closer until his forehead touched mine. You look like you're thinking yourself into an early grave. I am. I admitted. He studied me, eyes searching. Say it out loud. I swallowed. My parents. My family. I don't know how to tell them. His hand slid into mine, fingers interlacing. Then don't. Not until you're ready. I shook my head. That feels like hiding. No. He said gently. It's waiting. There's a difference. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to. But the fear gnawed at me. Over the next week, we settled into a rhythm. Coffee in the mornings. Shared dinners at night. Stolen kisses that turned into longer nights tangled in sheets. For the first time, my apartment felt like a home. But the outside world intruded quickly. New Year's Eve. My mom called. Her voice was warm, cheerful, full of plans. So, are you and Noah coming for dinner this weekend? We'd love to see you two together again. Panic stabbed my chest. She said it so casually, like we were already an established couple. Like she expected us to show up hand in hand. Noah, listening from the kitchen, mouthed, say yes. I hesitated, then caved. Yeah, we'll be there. When I hung up, I glared at him. Why would you make me agree to that? He shrugged, biting into an apple. Because sooner or later, we're gonna have to stop running. And if it blows up in my face, then we deal with it. Together. The way he said together made my heart stutter. Saturday came faster than I wanted. We drove back to my hometown, snow dusting the roads, Christmas lights still twinkling across porches. My stomach knotted tighter with every mile. Noah reached over, resting his hand on my knee. You're shaking. Because my family doesn't know who I am. I snapped before I could stop myself. He didn't flinch. He just squeezed my leg gently. Then maybe it's time they did. Dinner started innocently enough. My mom fussed over us, piling food onto our plates. My dad asked about work. Sarah, predictably, made a joke about how we looked sickeningly domestic. I laughed too loud. Noah shot me a look that said, relax. But I couldn't. Every second felt like a countdown to disaster. And then my father leaned back in his chair, eyeing us with quiet intensity. So, what exactly is this between you two? The room went silent. Forks paused. My pulse roared in my ears. Noah looked at me, waiting. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. My throat locked, fear choking the words. Finally, Noah spoke. His voice was calm, steady. It's real. My dad's brow furrowed. Real. Yeah. Noah's hand found mine under the table, squeezing tight. I love him. The world tilted. My mom gasped softly. Sarah's jaw dropped. My father's face hardened. Unreadable. And me. I sat frozen. Shame and relief colliding in my chest. Too stunned to breathe. The silence stretched unbearably. Then my dad stood, pushing back his chair. I need air, he muttered, storming toward the back door. My mom reached for me, eyes wide with confusion. Ethan. But I couldn't stay. I bolted after him, Noah's hand slipping from mine as I ran. Outside, the cold slammed into me like punishment. My dad stood by the fence, breath fogging in the night, shoulders tense. Dad, he spun. I sharp. You lied. The words cut deep. For years, he continued, voice shaking. We asked. We wondered. We worried and you lied to us. To me. To your mother. I swallowed hard. I was scared. Scared of what? That we'd hate you. I bit my lip, tears burning my eyes. Yeah, exactly that. His face twisted, something between hurt and anger. Do you really think so little of us? I think so little of myself. I whispered. That cracked him. His eyes softened, his voice lowering. Ethan. The silence was suffocating. My heart pounded. I love him, Dad. I don't know how to stop. For a long moment, he just stared at me. Then he exhaled, long and heavy, like he'd been holding his breath for years. You don't have to stop, he said finally. Tears spilled hot down my cheeks. You mean that? He nodded slowly. I don't understand it all. And maybe it'll take me time. But you're my son. Nothing changes that. My chest cracked wide open, relief flooding through me. When we came back inside, Noah was standing stiffly in the living room, my mom hovering nearby with a worried expression. Dad walked past him, clapped a hand on his shoulder, and said quietly, "Take care of him." Noah blinked, startled. Then he nodded. Always. My mom's eyes filled with tears, pulling me into a hug. You should have told us sooner. We love you. I choked out a laugh through the sob building in my throat. I know. I'm sorry. Sarah, never one to miss a dramatic moment, sniffled loudly. Ugh. Fine. I ship it even more now. The room erupted into awkward laughter. But for the first time in years, I felt light. That night, Noah and I lay in the guest room, the house quiet around us. He pulled me close, his breath warm against my neck. You did it, he whispered. No, I murmured. We did. For the first time, there was no pretending, no secrets. Just us. And I realized this wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning. The next weeks were messy. Conversations with relatives. Awkward silences. Sideways glances. Not everyone took it well. My uncle muttered about choices at Sunday dinner. A family friend stopped calling. But through it all, Noah stood beside me, steady as stone. When I faltered, he held me. When I doubted, he reminded me. When I feared, he faced it with me. And slowly, the noise faded. My parents adjusted. My cousins rallied. Even the neighbors, eventually, stopped whispering. Life didn't become perfect, but it became ours. February rolled around, gray and cold. We were curled on the couch one night, a storm rattling the windows, when Noah shifted suddenly. Ethan. Yeah. He looked nervous, Noah, who never looked nervous. What if? What if we stopped pretending forever? I frowned. What do you mean? He swallowed, eyes locked on mine. What if we got married? For real? The words hit me like lightning. I laughed, half panicked, half in awe. You're insane. Probably. His voice was steady, though. But I've loved you too long to keep waiting. I don't care about perfect timing or tradition. I just care about you. My throat tightened. You're serious. Dead serious. I stared at him, heart slamming. Fear and joy colliding in a way that left me dizzy. Marriage. Not pretend. Not survival. Real. I should have said no. I should have asked for time. But instead, I whispered the only truth I knew. Yes. His grin lit up the room. He pulled me into his arms, kissing me hard, laughter spilling between us. For the first time, the future didn't feel terrifying. Felt like hope. I don't know what I expected after saying yes. Fireworks. A sudden rush of certainty. Maybe angels descending from the ceiling with trumpets. Instead, it was just us two idiots sitting on a worn-out couch in my tiny Philadelphia apartment while a storm raged outside. Noah's grin was wide, reckless, boyish, like he'd just won the lottery. And me, my chest was on fire with equal parts joy and terror. Because yes was the easy part. What came after was going to be hard. The first thing we did was keep it a secret. Let's sit with it for a while, Noah suggested, sprawled across my bed a few nights later, his hair still damp from the shower. Just us. No pressure. No announcements. I agreed, partly out of relief. The idea of blurting out, "Hey Mom, we're getting married," felt insane. Too fast. Too soon. But the secret burned in me. Every time Noah's hand found mine, every time he kissed me, I thought, this is my fiancé. And I couldn't tell a soul. It was both intoxicating and suffocating. Work didn't help. My co-workers, blissfully oblivious, asked about my holiday like it had been just another trip. I smiled, nodded, said it was fine. I didn't mention the way my dad hugged me tighter than usual, or how my mom cried, or how Noah asked me to marry him while thunder shook the city. And at night, when Noah came over, I watched him move through my kitchen, barefoot and easy, like he belonged there. I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. Mine. He's mine. But I stayed silent. One night in early March, we went out for drinks with some of Noah's old college friends. The bar was loud, sticky floors, neon signs buzzing. First it was fun. They teased him, asked about his job, told embarrassing stories from dorm life. Then one of them, some guy named Matt, slung an arm around Noah and said, "So, still single?" I froze. Noah's eyes flicked to mine. A beat passed. Then he said, "Not exactly." My heart leapt into my throat. Matt laughed. "Oh yeah, who's the lucky girl?" The table chuckled. Noah didn't. He just reached for my hand under the table, lacing our fingers together. The laughter died instantly. "Oh," Matt muttered. "Oh." The rest of the night was a blur of awkward silences and forced small talk. When we left, I pulled my hand back, guilt gnawing at me. "You didn't have to do that," I muttered. "Yes, I did." His tone was sharp. "I'm not hiding you. I'm not asking you to hide me. You're asking me to wait. Forever. To keep waiting for you to be ready." The words sliced deep. We drove home in silence. The fight exploded in my apartment. Noah paced, voice rising. "Do you even want this?" Or is it just convenient because your family finally knows? That's not fair. No, because it feels like I'm the only one fighting for us. I snapped then, anger masking fear. I said yes to marrying you. Isn't that enough? His face hardened. No, Ethan. It's not enough if you're too scared to stand beside me in daylight. The silence after that was worse than yelling. He grabbed his coat, muttered something I couldn't hear, and slammed the door behind him. The apartment felt hollow without him. Days passed. No calls. No texts. I threw myself into work, into errands, into anything that wasn't lying awake at night replaying his words. But the truth gnawed at me. He was right. I said yes. But I hadn't believed it yet. Not fully. The breaking point came at my cousin Sarah's birthday party. She cornered me in the kitchen, sipping soda through a straw. I sharp. So, what's the deal with you and Noah? Everyone's asking. I froze. What do you mean? I mean, are you serious? Because I've seen the way he looks at you, and I swear if you break his heart, I'm disowning you as a cousin. Her words hit like a punch. Because even Sarah chaotic, nosy Sarah saw the truth clearer than I did. I went home that night and stared at my phone for hours. Finally, I called him. He didn't answer. I left a message, voice shaking. I'm sorry. You were right. I've been hiding. But I don't want to hide anymore. I love you. Please, just come back. Then I sat on the floor, phone clutched to my chest, waiting. 2 days later, he showed up at my door. He looked exhausted. I shadowed. But when I opened the door, he didn't hesitate. He just pulled me into his arms. I can't stay away, he whispered. Relief cracked me open. I held him tight, my voice breaking. Then don't. Please, don't. We stood there for a long time, just holding each other, letting the storm settle. From then on, we stopped tiptoeing. We told friends. We told co-workers. We even told the cashier at the corner store when she noticed Noah's hand on my back. Some people were supportive. Some weren't. But it didn't matter, because I wasn't hiding anymore. The hardest part was telling extended family. My grandmother clutched her pearls, muttering about the good old days. My uncle refused to shake Noah's hand. But my mom hugged us tighter. My dad invited Noah to help him fix the shed. And Sarah clapped so loudly when we announced our engagement that half the neighborhood probably heard. For every door that closed, another opened wider. Spring thawed into summer. We moved in together officially this time. Not just half of Noah's stuff scattered across my apartment. We argued over closet space, laughed over burnt dinners, fell asleep tangled in the sheets with the window open to city noise. And slowly, the fear faded. This wasn't just surviving. This was living. One evening in July, we sat on the fire escape with beers, the city humming below us. The air smelled like asphalt and cut grass, sticky with heat. Noah nudged me. You know what I've been thinking? That you still hate my taste in music. He smirked. That too. But mostly I don't want a big wedding. I blinked. You don't. He shook his head. I don't need hundreds of people watching us. I just need you. Maybe a few family and friends. Something small. Real. Relief flooded me. God, thank you. I was terrified you wanted the whole church and ballroom thing. Please. He snorted. I'd rather die than wear a tux in front of your uncle. I laughed, the tension breaking. Then small it is. Small and ours, he said firmly. The way he said ours made my chest ache with happiness. By August, plans were in motion. My mom offered her backyard, insisting it was perfect for something intimate. Sarah volunteered herself as unofficial wedding planner, nearly exploding with excitement. Even Dad surprised me, quietly building a wooden arch at the edge of the garden. "Every wedding needs an arch," he said gruffly, refusing to meet my eyes. I nearly cried, but not everyone was thrilled. One night, as Noah and I left a diner, a group of guys jeered from the sidewalk. Words I'd spent my whole life fearing cut through the night air. Noah stiffened, jaw tight. I grabbed his arm before he could lash out. We hurried to the car, my hands shaking. In the silence that followed, he muttered, "I hate this. I hate that they get to make you afraid." I stared at him, voice raw. "But I'm not afraid. Not with you." He turned then, eyes fierce, and kissed me right there in the parking lot. Let them watch. Let them whisper. We were done hiding. The weeks flew by in a blur of planning, nerves, and late-night whispered promises. Every day, I found myself more certain. This wasn't just Noah, my best friend. This was Noah, my future. On the night before the wedding, couldn't sleep. I wandered into the backyard, the arch standing ready, fairy lights strung along the fence. The air was thick with summer heat, cicadas buzzing in the distance. I sat on the porch steps, heart racing. Tomorrow, everything changed. Tomorrow, I stood in front of the people I loved most and said out loud what I'd been afraid of for so long. And instead of fear, I felt peace. Because tomorrow, I got to marry Noah. The morning of the wedding, I woke before the sun. At first, I didn't know why, just a restless stirring in my chest, like my body couldn't handle another second of waiting. I lay there in the quiet, listening to the hum of the old ceiling fan, and it hit me all over again. I was getting married today. Not pretend. Not for show. Not because our families needed proof. Real. To Noah. When I stepped into the kitchen, Mom was already up, humming while she whisked eggs. She wore a pale blue dress, hair pinned up in that way she always did for church. She turned, saw me, and her eyes softened. Big day. I swallowed hard, nodding. Yeah. She crossed the room and cupped my face, just like she had when I was a kid. "I'm proud of you, Ethan." Those words nearly undid me. By mid-morning, the house was a whirlwind. Sarah barked orders like a drill sergeant, arranging flowers, fussing with tablecloths, snapping at anyone who got in her way. Dad lugged folding chairs across the lawn, muttering but never slowing down. And Noah, when I finally saw him, standing under the oak tree in a crisp white shirt and navy suspenders, sunlight catching in his hair, I forgot how to breathe. He turned, caught my stare, and grinned like he knew every thought in my head. I wanted to run to him, to kiss him, to forget the crowd gathering just beyond the hedges. But Sarah shoved a boutonniere in my chest and hissed, "Not yet." The ceremony started with music from a cheap speaker, the kind that crackled on the high notes. It didn't matter. When I walked across the grass toward the arch my dad had built, all I saw was Noah. The rest blurred the folding chairs filled with family and friends, the hum of cicadas, the soft breeze rustling the trees. He was there, waiting, eyes bright, hands steady. When I reached him, he whispered, just loud enough for me to hear, "Hi, fiancé." I choked out a laugh, my nerves unraveling. Not for long. The officiant, a family friend who got ordained online, kept things simple. A few words about love, about partnership, about choosing each other every day. And then it was our turn. We hadn't written elaborate vows. No flowery speeches. Just truth. I spent years pretending. I said, voice shaking. Pretending I was fine. Pretending I didn't need anyone. Pretending you weren't everything to me. But then you saw me. Really saw me. And you never looked away. I don't ever want to pretend again. Noah's eyes shone. He took my hands, squeezing tight. I don't care about perfect, he said. I don't care about easy. I just care about us. You're my best friend. My home. My reason. And I promise you no matter what we'll face it together. By the time he finished, my cheeks were wet. When the officiant finally said, "You may kiss," Noah didn't wait. He pulled me close, kissed me hard, and the crowd erupted cheers, claps, a few scandalized gasps from distant relatives. But all I heard was the thundering in my chest. We were married. The reception was chaotic, messy, perfect. Tables crammed into the backyard, string lights glowing overhead, kids chasing each other between chairs, Sarah dancing barefoot in the grass. My dad actually laughing really lafingas he clinked glasses with Noah. We cut a cake that leaned slightly to the left, fed each other messy bites, and ended up with frosting smeared on our noses. Someone probably spilled beer all over the dessert table. The playlist skipped every third song. None of it mattered, because when Noah pulled me into the middle of the lawn, hand on my waist, swaying to music only we could hear, the world felt whole. Later, when most of the guests had gone and the fairy lights flickered low, we slipped away to the fire escape of our apartment. The city stretched before us, restless and alive. Noah leaned back against the railing, tugging me into his arms. "So," he murmured, "husband." The word jolted through me like lightning. "Husband," I repeated, tasting it. We kissed, slow and unhurried, the kind of kiss that didn't need witnesses. When we finally pulled back, I pressed my forehead to his. "Do you ever think about how far we've come? From fake dates to this?" He chuckled. "Guess the best lies are the ones that end up true." "Poetic," I teased. "Accurate," he shot back, then softened. "I love you, Ethan. Always." My chest tightened, overflowing with everything I couldn't quite put into words. "I love you too. Always." And just like that, the pretending was over. What we had now wasn't an act. It wasn't performance, or convenience, or family pressure. It was real, messy, terrifying, beautiful, real. And for the first time in my life, I didn't just believe in it. I believed in us. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.